Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka MBT, back with another Twitter thread. Last week, Magic the Gathering players were eating good as we absolutely demonstrated how piss poor some Yu-Gi-Oh decisions are in the face of WotC's insane benevolence. But today, they'll be eating humble pie as we detail some of the things that brought us to Yu-Gi-Oh over other card games. I know I personally was particularly intrigued by the fact that Yu-Gi-Oh's reprint policy dwarfs Magic's in scope. In Yu-Gi-Oh, if you are playing a powerful, expensive card, you can probably expect that when the Megatins roll around at the end of the regional season, those cards will be absolutely worthless as they are reprinted into the dust. This means that almost anyone can play with almost any card, which is just fantastic for new player accessibility.
The downside is sometimes they're not.
So today we're going to look at some other things that people think Yu-Gi-Oh does better than Magic. Maybe we can all come together and create the ultimate card game, one that has absolutely zero issues. And then after we reverse engineer the Naruto card game, we can do something else. Alex, off the bat, honestly, the Yu-Gi-Oh foils are better in both quality and variety. Absolutely true. I mean, it should probably be true. It's embarrassing if it wasn't, because we have about 400 different types of foils. But Magic the Gathering's foil processing is not only very samey, it also just causes them to curl, depending on which set you got them from. The fact that you can literally do anything you want in this entire game, not even from a competitive aspect, stupid bullshit, fun, zero-turn kills are theoretically possible, or anything shown on Table 500, this game is so insane, I want more games to be like that. Dire, I'm gonna level with you. L, again. Magic the Gathering allows you to do just as many stupid fucking things. Throw up the video where they make a computer in a Commander game. Legacy support. I love seeing how far they can push older anime archetypes that were clearly designed for a different metagame for something modern. It gives older players something to look forward to. When are we getting the nostalgia Thrall support, Magic?
Hey guys, Peter Griffin here to explain MVT's silly joke.
Darktome says, the biggest appeals to Yu-Gi-Oh for me are the concept of archetypes. In terms of variance, this deck has a deck that can fit any aesthetic you could conceivably want, and the ability for cards to interact with members of their deck and not be generic is really healthy. It is kind of cool that you get to play what would be banned cards in other archetypes, provided your chosen archetype is bad enough. Recently, Magic the Gathering has an issue of being too clever with their designing to the point of being annoying, the Lin-Manuel Miranda effect. The first time I read this Reddit custom card, I got actually mad. Cleave 1, black, black, green. You may cast the spell for its cleave cost. If you do, remove the words in square brackets. I get it.
It makes me laugh, but I get it.
Don't know if it's because of gameplay design or the player base is the problem, but in Magic the Gathering, it feels like it has a much worse sharking problem than Yu-Gi-Oh. If I was that guy who pith named Borb, I would have attacked my opponent. Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh players shark in different ways, but I am always surprised at the angle shoots that Magic the Gathering players are willing to do. While in competitive tournaments with records that would not see me making it to top cut, I've had other opponents with similar records call a judge and ask to verify the number of cards in my deck, the corners on my sleeves, if my sleeves were too dirty, if my card case had additional cards in it. I've never had that happen in Yu-Gi-Oh, but, you know, it could, theoretically. I know last week you mentioned keywords as a good thing, but there are a lot of ways they actually limit design space. They can be a barrier to entry for new Magic the Gathering players. They can limit design space. Yu-Gi-Oh could use more keywords for sure, but there are downsides. It is certainly true that there are downsides to keywords. They save real estate on the card, but you do still have to know, like, the lengthy explanation of what they are. And frequently they won't reuse keywords with a couple of exceptions when they go to a new plane. As a result, there's just like a lot of bloated keywords that kind of do similar things to each other, but in really minute ways. Which is functionally what Yu-Gi-Oh is anyway. Cost. 1,000,000%. A Yu-Gi-Oh deck may be about as much as a standard deck in Magic the Gathering, but once I bought the staples, I can make any other deck for $100 or less. Modern is $1,500 for a deck that may have little to no card crossover with other decks in the format. Absolutely agree. In Magic the Gathering, if you are entering an Eternal format, you can expect to pay a stack or two in order to get anything remotely competitive, with a couple of exceptions. One-note decks that like don't play commonly played cards like Fetch Lands or Shock Lands. And while you do have crossover with other decks, it's usually in a mana base, and it does restrict what else you are able to do. And Ash Blossom is going to be played in anything in Yu-Gi-Oh! One thing that really irks me is that there's infinitely more Magic the Gathering finance people because the cards hold value so much more than Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards because of the lack of an aggressive reprint policy. There's a lot of people who purchase Magic cards to invest. And as a result, it has basically caused some of the worst, most annoying people in the world to be really empowered in terms of the Magic the Gathering market. Shouts out to the fact that people can rent Magic the Gathering decks now. That's what I want, is rent-seeking behavior in my card game. People rent Magic the Gathering decks. I like that Konami has cooler rewards for players who participate in events. Dice for pre-reg, field centers, and other trinkets. This is one of those, like, boundaries build creativity things. Because Konami isn't able to offer a lot of cash prizing for its tournaments, entry occasionally gets you these fun little trinkets, and boy, do we love trinkets. Master Duel. Wow, this is one that I did not think we would see. But yes, Master Duel, for all its flaws, can be free to play without any issue. It has one of the most generous economies that I've ever seen in what should be a gacha game. In Magic the Gathering Arena, you need to learn how to play limited if you want to have a chance to build a standard deck, so you can build a deck for Eternal formats if you're attempting to free to play. Rare Master Duel W. It's the most all-gas card game in the market, baby. No game starts with 3 turns of players waiting for mana so they can do something. It's go, go, go out of the gate. It's actually kind of an easy sell to a very specific type of Magic player. They go, what's Yu-Gi-Oh like? And you go, well, you're both playing Storm, and you both have Force of Wills in your opener every game. Come on, hasn't Magic the Gathering Online suffered enough? What the hell is that? The best way to play Magic, you Philistines! Until Arena came out, the best way to play Magic was to use Magic the Gathering Online. Would you believe that this is the 4th iteration of this client? Budget DB? No, 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 Dyer. This costs money. The Budget DB is cockatrice. Look at that! Woo! Sophie, absolutely correct here. There is no game better than making every play you make feel broken than Yu-Gi-Oh! The game was based on an anime. You can feel it in the gameplay. Games feel like 2 wild-haired protagonists flinging insane energy blasts back and forth. It rocks. It feels more like a fighting game than a card game. Chain links in Yu-Gi-Oh! Are easier to grasp than the stack in Magic. Not true. Just not remotely true. Not even remotely true. Just wrong. Just wrong. Just incorrect. Literally wrong. Unironically, the nostalgia bait. The anime and Dark Magician support got me coming back to the game at a casual level for years before I decided to go deeper. In what other game could anything like Hero exist? This is me last week. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is incredible at using its rules super creatively. It has archetypes like Flower Carding and Valence that make you play an entirely different game within the rules engine. That is true, but both of those archetypes are endlessly complex and they fucking suck. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has more Blorbos than Magic the Gathering. There's no Magic the Gathering man I want to dunk into a gallon of milk and slam into the wall like Ningirsu. What the fuck are you talking about? There are good things about Yu-Gi-Oh! That Magic the Gathering lacks. There are good things about Magic the Gathering that Yu-Gi-Oh! Lacks. But we can all come together and agree that if it were still being printed, the Naruto card game would be better than both of them. See you next time! Shouts out to Dick Pussy for living your truth.